And welcome back to our 10 News coverage of Comic-Con. We're at the Chuck Jones Gallery here right on 5th Avenue. Jeff Lasky and Mark Saunders with you, bringing you all the action, all the highlights from Comic-Con so far. Looking forward to tomorrow, and it's already been an interesting Comic-Con so far, Mark.
It has. I mean, going off the top of the day, you were there for Hall H with The Walking Dead showing up, and then Game of Thrones, The Defenders. Already watching Twitter, and there's a lot of news just coming down the pipeline already. So I can assume that that's going to continue into tomorrow when all the big movies hit up.
Yeah, Mark and I have been tag teaming the biggest panels to bring you some of the surprises that have happened. We've also both been walking around the convention floor outside the convention center, bringing you the best of the entire atmosphere, and especially the atmosphere here at the Chuck Jones Gallery. Our thanks to them for having us a great spot. Incredible artwork. If you were with us last night, we had a live interview with the grandson of Chuck Jones talking about his legacy. So thanks to them for having us here. But you mentioned, Mark, The Walking Dead, and that's where we'll start today, because it was a really interesting year because of a disaster that struck on the set just a week ago.
Yeah, that's right. One of the crew members actually died due to injuries on set, and that obviously played over into the panel. Not really easy to walk into something as big as Comic-Con and not really address that in the room. So the cast made a point to just kind of shuffle themselves in.
Yeah,
you were there.
And The Walking Dead is always, of course, one of the most anticipated panels, and normally there'd be a big raucous introduction of each member of the cast and a big video production, and it was a very somber affair in a lot of ways because of what happened to that stuntman. So instead of the big introduction, the cast just came up quietly in the dark with the lights down, took their seats. There was no moderator. Chris Hardwick wasn't hosting it this year. They brought the lights up, and the producer of the show, Scott Gimple, explained what happened, talked about that they weren't even sure they were going to do a panel this year, but they wanted to honor the legacy of the work that had been done. He talked about the stuntman who died, and they showed a trailer, and then they went right to questions from the fans. They really turned it over to the people in the hall, and I was in there too to capture some of the great moments, and one of them was when the entire crowd essentially made fun of the lead actor, Andrew Lincoln, who plays Rick Grimes, for the interesting way that he pronounces the name of his son.
Right. If you know the show, you know that Andrew Lincoln is British, so there's a certain level of having to have an American accent. I think there's something to say about having to have a Southern American accent on top of it. So Carl doesn't really come across as Carl. It's more of a coral. And it's a horse coral. It's a coral type coral. So I'm glad they made it a point to make him known of that in a panel.
Mark's got it down pretty well, and as he said, pretty much the entire room let Andy Lincoln know about it, and we were able to capture that moment on camera.
I would say it's a work in progress, but it's work in progress. I don't know, what's the thing with the call?
I have to say, coming from Kentucky, and my father's name is Carl. That's how a lot of people say it. So
thank you.
It's authentic to the region that I'm from.
Does he never watch it?
I don't watch it. Did I?
What does he say? How does he say it, guys?
Is it more like coral? Is that coral? Is that what you're talking about? Briggs. Do I talk like that to you?
Yeah, 409. 409. That's all you did. Yeah, that's all you said.
Well, another 8.
It was a fun moment. You could kind of tell Andrew Lincoln maybe a little bit sheepish about it, but that's the fun of Comic-Con is you never know when you're going to get teased, and they roll with it pretty well.
I don't think he woke up this morning thinking an entire hall is going to say coral at him. Hopefully he knew he said it like that already, but yeah, pretty funny moment.
Something tells me it's not the first time that he's heard that, but really the guy who stole the show was Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who plays the arch villain on the show, Negan. He's got a lot of personality as a villain, and that came out when he was asked one of the questions from the audience about what he likes and perhaps doesn't like about playing his character Negan. So let's show you that moment.
What you like most about the character?
Did I
like least about your character?
What do I like most about Negan?
I find him very amusing. I think he's got a great sense of humor. And in these dark days, a sense of humor will help you get through. What do I like least about him? That he wears a leather jacket on 120 degrees.
Yeah, that moment's been getting a lot of attention around the country, just kind of for the force of his personality.
Yeah, I think it plays really well into how he presents himself as that character on screen. You expect that type of humor, especially if you've read the comic books. You kind of know there's this underlying humor. So he's the perfect guy for it. And then, of course, just wearing a leather jacket in Georgia in a hot, humid summer. I would say poor guy, but he's a movie star, so.
Yeah,
but
that.
For anybody, it can't be pleasant. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's just part of the fun is you never know when you're going to have fun moments like that. You never know what you're going to see, which actually kind of leads me to something that we've been having some fun with today, Mark, and that is our 10 News bingo card. You can actually play along if you're coming down here, whether you go into the convention or you're just down here to people watch. And it's kind of a fun game where you can spot some things out there. How are you doing so far?
Yeah, that's right. So far, I'm pretty good. Obviously, we got the 10 News free space, so I'm going to cross that one off. And then my favorite square, 10 News reporter Jeff Lasky is on this.
I've never been on a bingo card before. This is a new one for me.
That's an instant check right there. And then there's a couple more where, again, it's going to be some weird things. Spock. I know there's a Spock running around here, so if you're in there, you'll get that one. But other ones, it's right in the vein of Comic-Con.
I'm sad to say that I was behind someone who gave me this square, someone who didn't wear deodorant. You know who you are. I was stuck behind you for 10 minutes.
10 minutes is enough time to find out.
I would gladly lose my game of bingo if I could actually turn that square back in, but unfortunately that's the way it was. Look, it's hot. There's 150,000 people down here.
Right. Even in an AC convention center.
Reapply.
Please.
Sometimes you have to reapply.
Please. And if you're looking for things to pack, that's a good segue. 10news.com, we know what you should pack. Deodorant is on that list. Please don't forget it. Even if you don't read the list, just don't forget that. So
Comic-Con is like a group experience, right? We're all in it together in a lot of ways. So
it's about helping one another.
There you go.
Yeah.
But we were kind of joking about you never know what you're going to see, and one of the fun things about Comic-Con is there are people who come every year who you don't traditionally link to comic books. Like an example, if you've been following my coverage the last few years, is civil rights icon Congressman John Lewis from Georgia, who's actually going to be back here tomorrow.
Right.
But I got an opportunity just a few hours ago in the convention center to chat with the Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah.
A hit musical group. will.i.am was there, and they're here because they wrote a comic book.
Right.
You don't necessarily put the two of them together, but there they were at the Marvel booth.
It seems like the next logical step after a few hit albums, right? To just go ahead and write a comic book. I'm sure that's totally on the
It's kind of funny, and I was getting at that in the interview because I wanted to know, is it really just a different way of storytelling from songs? But I had a chance to chat for a couple minutes about being at Comic-Con with will.i.am and the Black Eyed Peas. So let's give it a listen. Gorilla. Will, what is it like for you to be here in San Diego for Comic-Con? And I imagine it's a pretty different environment.
I've been to Comic-Con in New York for a project called Wizards and Robots. I went there solo with the person I collaborated with named Brian David Johnson. But being here with my best friends, bandmates, Black Eyed Peas, with our Marvel comic partnership with Masters of the Sun, we wrote the story 4 years ago, so to see it a reality here, all because of Taboo's leadership by guiding us and pointing us to Marvel, and now that is a reality is out over the world.
Between songwriting and music, is it really just different ways of storytelling?
Creating content, creating different ways for people to experience, the vision of what Black Eyed Peas is as far as like storytelling, different types of narratives. This is a great extension of what we're capable of doing with content. There's a lot of different components other than just a graphic novel, and that'll be coming in different installments.
Yeah, so we're able to tell like a message in a different form,
It was neat to just kind of sense their enthusiasm for being here, and like I say, you never know who you're going to have a chance to bump into and have a conversation with.
I mean, it's got that Marvel seal of approval too, so I'm inclined to go ahead and get behind it immediately. Slight fanboying, but I mean, musical artists, of course, they have other underlying interests, so I'm sure there's a lot more comic book fans out there who are waiting for their own chance to make a comic book.
Yeah, it was a fun conversation. So thanks to will.i.am, the Black Eyed Peas, for having the chat with me. The moment, Mark, that's really gotten maybe the most attention nationwide was another moment that we were actually able to capture live in Hall H. And this came during the panel for The Kingsman, and Oscar winner Halle Berry was there. Here we are a day later, and people are still talking about what she did.
Yeah, it's not every day that an entire panel pours themselves drinks in front of thousands of people, let alone have somebody chug that drink again and just kind of keep chugging through the panel like it's nothing. So
yeah, and I happened to be rolling as for the Kingsmen. They brought out a big thing of bourbon, and Colin Firth poured himself a regular shot. Channing Tatum poured himself a regular shot, and then Channing Tatum decided to go ahead and pour for Halle Berry, and that's when things got interesting.
I'll get Matthew Vaughan on the phone, and we can hear from him as well. Let's get him on FaceTime so you can see him. As I said, he's working hard in London editing the movie, but he wanted to say hi to you as well. Hang on.
Yeah, so he kept on pouring, and then she stood up and immediately chugged down that entire thing to a big round of applause.
I mean, what else are you going to do at that point, right? it's in the glass. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and assign a little bit of blame to having a pint glass at a shot pouring session. So might have been the wrong move at that point, yeah.
But she was game and went for it at the moment, but I will say for the next 45 minutes, the rest of the panel,
right,
she looked like a woman who had just downed a pint of bourbon.
Understandably.
Yeah.
Because she just did, yes.
So that's kind of what makes it fun, is having all these celebrities here who, you know, in a lot of ways are looser and have a different, you know, attitude. It's a different experience for them as well being here.
Yeah, I mean, they're amongst fans. A lot of people who go out to these panels, obviously, they've waited in line most of the night, so they're definitely going to be willing to just sit there and hear them talk, if anything, and then to have them interact with everybody like that and just let loose and have fun up there. That's what people who wait in Hall H are looking for, in addition to exclusive footage and all that stuff. But those moments, too, are definitely what they wait for.
Yeah, there have been a lot of big stars here at Comic-Con. We put together a little reel of some of the introductions of some of those celebrities coming into Hall H, so let's enjoy.
Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the incredible force of nature that is Channing Tatum. The brains of the Statesman Organisation, Oscar winner Halle Berry. A legend, I think possibly pound for pound the greatest screen actor the US has ever produced. He's been in more movies than any other living human being. Mr. Jeff Bridges!
Terry heard you playing.
Mark Saunders back with you here from Comic-Con at the Chuck Jones Gallery right here along the Convention Center. Mark, not all of our encounters with celebrities go exactly like that, but they do find ways of showing their personality.
Right. I think that's what you're looking for. Even if it's somebody throwing something at you, you know, you're inclined to be like, hey, that famous person just threw something at me, right?
Yeah.
So any type of interaction with celebrities amongst fans is pretty much what's sought here. Yeah.
And I had an interaction with one celebrity who I think pretty much fits her personality to a T. Can we actually bring up this picture? That is Parks and Rec star Aubrey Plaza, as I stopped to take a picture of her during an autograph signing, and she was giving me the pen.
I think she likes you, Jeff.
Maybe she just thought that she wanted to know if I wanted her autograph.
She seems really happy to see you, Jeff.
Yeah, it's that she has that way of perfecting that look, that dead kind of look in her eyes that's so great in all of her characters.
I see a lot of life in those eyes. and definite eye contact, for sure.
That was a lot of fun doing that, and that was much better than me just walking by, taking a random picture, because now we have something to talk about.
Right, yeah. I mean, if anything, I would hope most celebrities go ahead and, fake give somebody the bird just to get some people talking.
Absolutely. It's like, if you got a chance to meet, Don Rickles or something, you'd want him to insult you, right? So this was much better than any other interaction I could have hoped for.
This is your second tier best interaction to Don Rickles.
If I could have, before he passed.
Yes.
Maybe Aubrey Plaza will be back next year, and I'll say, hey, do you remember me? I'm the news reporter that you pretended to give the finger to while randomly walking by you during an autograph signing, and she'll say, no, I don't remember you at all, and probably give me the actual finger.
I don't think she does that for everybody. I don't.
We'll see. So I was fortunate that I just happened to be walking by and get a chance to see her, but seeing celebrities and getting a good spot is kind of the game out here.
Right, and everybody's looking for what you just experienced. They're looking to set up somewhere and find some celebrity just walking past them, even if it's just fleeting and, oh, hey, there's that person. That's what they're looking for. And a lot of people here are doing that at the Hard Rock Cafe, actually, right across the street outside the windows here. There's a nice little side back entrance, and every morning you'll walk out there and you'll see people lining it with security, of course, just waiting for somebody to come out and get in a car. That's all they're looking for. And I think we have footage of those people waiting to see people getting cars. So we can show you some of that.
Where is the best spot for celebrities? Is it right here?
This is a secret spot.
I would say so. I mean, but you also see, like, I saw the kid from Modern Family Manny. I don't know his name, but he was walking down the street. No one bothering him at all.
Colin Farrell was walking down the street last year. Oh my God, it was right here.
Did anybody recognize him?
Yes, I got a great picture of him. I yelled, "I love you," and he waved and smiled.
Thank you. Nice.
And there, I mean, it's the people watching right there that you come down here day after day through the 4 days that the convention goes on to see.
And a lot of the veterans and the native San Diegans kind of have an advantage because they know some of the spots to go. And as you said, the Hard Rock is a great spot because A, a lot of the celebrities are staying in the Hard Rock, and B, they have all the ballrooms during Comic-Con for the Hard Rock, for the Hilton Bayfront, for the Marriott. They get turned basically into interview rooms for press junkets. I've been to several of them. Mark, I know you're going to one tomorrow with the Once Upon a Time cast. So being at one of those hotels, finding one of those spots can be a great place to see celebrities just walking in and do some people watching.
Right. I mean, even if you're heading down to actually take part in one of the panels, just hanging out afterwards, find an entrance to that room or to that area of the hotel. And there's a good chance that you're going to catch somebody coming out and, maybe even snag an autograph quick, just say hi, hello, a quick selfie. It's been known to happen every year. So,
well, tomorrow there are going to be some huge names here for the big movie day. A lot of the rumors are that we're going to see some huge stars here for Marvel, which is always kind of the last huge panel that goes on in the evening. There's a chance that we'll see the Avengers cast here. People like Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson here for that. But in the morning, there's going to be a big panel, and we're pretty sure that we're going to actually get to see Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, we would hope so. They're going to be previewing or talking a little more about the sequel, technically, to the original Blade Runner. The next one coming up, Blade Runner 2049. Hopefully we'll have some cast and crew giving us some footage, talking about what's going on behind the scenes. And they're already making a name for themselves with an off-site location down a little further away from where we are in the Gaslamp, but it's a complete virtual reality experience. And we have a little bit of footage from that we can show you. It's the off-site right there outside. It's a pretty big installation. And then inside, a lot of cool art, some set designs, and a total VR experience.
Virtual reality has been a big thing, really starting last year, and now so many different places are using it, and that looks like an amazing spot.
Right, yeah, you basically, you get in, you sit down, you go through this virtual experience, and then when you take your goggles off, the wall in front of you that was there has been lifted, and now you're at the scene of where that virtual reality experience had just ended. Walking through a replica of Los Angeles in the year 2049, interacting with fans, interacting with actors, and it's actually almost like a living version of the world that you just saw.
And I won the arm wrestling match, so I'm actually going to be the one who's going to be in the panel tomorrow. So follow me on Twitter at 10newslasky, and I'll be tweeting. I'm going to try to get out as many videos as the bad cell signal in Hall H that all of us are used to dealing with can get out. But just like I was kind of the first to get out, kind of the Halle Berry stuff and some of the Walking Dead stuff, I'm going to try to get out as much as I can while it's happening tomorrow in Hall H, because it's not just Blade Runner. We're also talking about Steven Spielberg making just his second ever appearance at Comic-Con, his first time in 6 years. And we're also talking about Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot and some of the cast for those superhero movies coming up.
Spielberg's going to be coming down, hopefully showing off Ready Player One. It started as a book, well loved amongst a lot of the Comic-Con crowd here, and now they're finally getting a movie. Not only just a movie directed by Steven Spielberg, which is in and of itself a pretty big accolade. And then with the Justice League, hopefully the cast is down here, maybe some new footage and a little more news behind the Aquaman movie that is planned eventually for Warner Brothers. Should also be heading out, so we're going to be looking for you to go ahead and push that out when you're in Hall H for us.
10 News Lasky on Twitter, and then of course we'll get all of it posted to 10news.com as well, so that you'll be able to see that. And Hall H, that's where the big action takes place.
It's a tough line from what I'm told. I've never actually waited in it. I think very few people who come to Comic-Con actually spend their time in Hall H, despite the press that it gets. But when you're there talking to those people who are waiting, that's all that matters. Hall H is Comic-Con. There is no off-site. There is no inside exhibition. It's just Hall H Con, basically. And we had a chance to speak to a couple people waiting Thursday morning, to get into the very start. I believe it was the Kingsman panel that you had covered, just for a look at a movie. So we have some footage with Roger and Danny on that.
You guys waiting for today for Hall H?
20th Century Fox panel, I think they're going to do the new Kingsman movie.
Okay. Are you a fan of the Kingsman movie? Have you seen it before?
Yeah, we actually saw a few years ago. We went to the Kingsman panel at WonderCon. Enjoyed that, so we saw the movie, really liked it, so it's going to be exciting.
So waiting in Hall H, it's a little bit of dedication, right?
Oh yeah.
Have you done this before?
Yep, last few years. So we got our technique down, who's staying and the time we need to be here.
Any helpful tips for anybody who's thinking about one day waiting here or who's coming down later this weekend?
Well, just pick one person to hold your seat overnight, and then but just make sure you're here to get your wristbands, and then you're free to go. It's a new system they've had for the last couple of years.
You guys are going to be in line all weekend then, right?
Pretty much, line and then sit in Hall H.
Cool. So when you come down to Hall H, as far as the exhibition and stuff on the floor go, is there anything that you kind of have to plan ahead for to hit on a booth and then come back, or do you just completely disregard all that stuff?
Yeah, I'm saving that for Sunday. All day Sunday will be on the floor, and then my plan is just get here early before it gets too crowded and too hot, and hit the things you want to hit, and then just wander around and see what's there.
And a lot of times there's surprises just for the folks waiting in line. In fact, I know last year Benedict Cumberbatch actually went out very early in the morning and brought breakfast for a lot of the folks waiting in line, just walking along with donuts. And he's not the only one who's done that. It's a thing.
Yeah. A lot of the time, well, not a lot of times, but in some instances, the people who are going to be headlining Hall H that day will come out and at least just wave, say, hey, we're here, don't leave yet, hang in there. It's going to be great when you get inside. And I mean, that's great fan service to the people who are spending their weekend and their money on a 4-day pass, who are just waiting to see them in action.
That's why you have so many people who travel from all around the world to be at Comic-Con here in San Diego every year for exactly that kind of experience. You made a great point that for people who want to be in Hall H, who are willing to camp out for the entire day to do it, that is their Comic-Con experience. But there are a lot of people who will never set foot in Hall H, and they're out and about all across the gas lamp, and you still see how many people here in the evening are still walking around behind us here and still waiting in line. lines to get into some of the events that are not in the convention center at all.
Yeah, that's right. This morning, behind us, if you were joining us, there was a line wrapping around this building.
It was the longest line I'd ever seen.
And it was only noon, right?
Yeah.
And they had been out there since about 8 a.m.
Yeah, for the
Netflix experience, which is located actually right behind us up here. But the entrance to that starts a block down that way. And having that line
all the way down here,
around here,
all the way down,
they had
to
no
K,
problem,
all the way across to 4th, and it was one line.
It was getting hot, and that's where the deodorant on the bingo card comes in. It was getting spicy out there, and few people had umbrellas to keep in the shade.
Forget the donuts next year, Benedict Cumberbatch. Bring the deodorant.
Deodorant, yeah. Just spray them down. Keep going. But yeah, a lot of these offsite events, people camp out overnight. We had the Netflix one, like I said. The one right behind us, the Game of Thrones experience, has been notorious so far this weekend for having people camp out overnight.
Have you been in there yet?
I have not.
I have not done it yet this year. I've snuck in the last 2 years. I've played the hey, I work for 10 news card. Rarely works, but in those particular cases,
you got to try it.
It is a cool event to be able to get in there and check that out. It's on my list for tomorrow.
And that one, as well as another big one, was the Westworld offsite event. That one was actually capped every morning. Now it's only 120 people being allowed into that event every day. So if you're not out there at 5 a.m. and getting a wristband, that's how it is basically now with San Diego Comic-Con and some of these big headlining events. And I think we have a little bit more footage of people waiting in line, spending their time at Comic-Con. Just dedication, I guess.
At Comic-Con, you're waiting in line for everything, so if you can be at the front of a line, it's better.
No, well, that's the front of the line. We wrapped around the building once, so we're at the end. Yeah. And then it still continues around that corner again. There's a second.
When you meet people, I didn't know these guys until I stood in line.
Yeah.
It's funny, there's lines for everything, but I always have pretty good luck when it comes to Comic-Con. I never feel like I wait in a line for an unreasonable amount of time. I was able to walk into Hall H yesterday in like 20 minutes, so not too bad. Comic-Con magic.
And I mean, when you're waiting in line for this long for something, it's hard to get away. It's hard to just leave and say, oh, I'm done for the day, right?
By the way, speaking of you never know what you're going to see at Comic-Con, we've got a bit of a surprise for you.
I'm going to move out of the way here.
We're just doing this on the fly here as we were kind of people watching some of the folks coming through. Check out some amazing cosplay right now. This is dedication right here. Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer, amazing. Come right in here so we can get a look at you. We're gonna got to get the Silver Surfer a little bit closer in here, and wow, that's this is made. You got a microphone as well. Just wow, this is dedication here. Are you guys having a good time?
Oh, always.
We're having a great time. And I married into this.
Yeah.
So you're saying you weren't into this before.
And now she is.
You can say that.
What
I love it now. I love it.
What was the sales pitch? This is what I want to know. How did he get you into this?
This was the sales pitch right here. That's all it took.
How long does it take to get into the full getup?
You know what? The key to it is knowing what products are really good and effective. So this is a wonderful product. It goes on fast. It stays on. Not a lot of application throughout the day. However, what goes on and stays on, stays on. So the work actually comes tonight when I try and take it off.
Wow. And how long? What is that process? Without getting into too many gory details about it, what is that process like?
You know what? It takes about 2.5 hours to put on.
Wow.
And at night, it's just a lot of oil and scrubbing. and that is not without a lot of detail.
I hope you're not insulted when I say that your eyes are creeping me out. Can I get you to look right at the camera so we can get a good look? Because it's not just the full body setup here. You've got it looks like the contacts on there as well. That is incredible. What is it about this experience that makes this so much fun for you?
Oh well, Comic-Con, there's so much fandom involved. In the fact that when you dress as a Silver Surfer or any of the other characters, you're kind of embodying something that people have grown up with. You know, all of us are different and unique in some special way, and as a little kid, usually you're made to feel different because of it. The superheroes actually empower you. They make you realize that these uniquenesses that we have make you a stronger person. It makes you special. And when you actually empower that or take it in, it makes you much stronger. It makes you a better person, and you can actually wield it and help other people too. There's a quote that says, by embracing your differences, you empower others to do the same.
I'm feeling a little bit better about your decision to marry the guy. That's pretty well said. What's it like for you to walk around being costume, and you get things like people doing live shows dragging you in, so that's got to be fun.
Okay, what's funny is that my character is the Invisible Woman, and I actually am kind of invisible next to him as we're walking around. But it's just a lot of fun, and I love to see him in all of his glory. This is his Christmas, so it's fun.
Very, very cool. Thanks for coming in and hanging out with us. And we just kind of saw you walking by, and we were like, I want to talk with them. So very, very cool.
Thank you for having us. We definitely appreciate it.
Awesome. So we're gonna let Mark come in here. We'll let the Silver Surfer and the Invisible Woman slip their way out here and go back and enjoy the rest of their convention. Thank you guys. So much fun seeing folks dress up. We've seen some amazing costumes. We actually had an opportunity, and we'll be posting it on 10news.com. You'll be able to see it. One of our colleagues, Stacey Haynes, for those of you who've been following our coverage of Comic-Con the last few years, she was my partner out here last year, and we actually got her into the chair with the Cinema Makeup School. She was in the chair for more than 2 hours getting all of this stuff put on. So as I said, we're going to post it on 10news.com. You're going to be able to see it. It's really amazing. So I'm looking forward to you guys being able to see that, because it was really cool. And when you see the folks who are out here dressed like this,
right.
But the message that he had too behind it, that really is the spirit of Comic-Con, is an acceptance of everybody for what they enjoy and who they want to be.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're not dressing up, there's just so much to see that you can't help but just, there's a camaraderie, really, that kind of develops with people who are either badge holders or they're just coming down to enjoy the sights. It's really kind of just everybody here enjoying comics, and especially the costumes, as we saw before, and having fun with it all,
So we're going to start winding things down, but let's talk a little bit about tomorrow and what it is that you're most looking forward to on your list of things that you'll be taking care of for us.
Tomorrow, I hope to be able to bring you guys some coverage of the Hall H panels. Specifically, Stranger Things is going to be in Hall H tomorrow. Coming off of one season, but already such a huge following, again, with the Netflix experience just drawing so many people. It's just crazy how many people love this show, and it's only one season. So hopefully I'm going to get in there bright and early, get some coverage out of there. Like you said, the coverage is horrible as far as sell and trying to just load things up. So I'm going to get in there as quick as I can, upload some stuff, and get you guys some of the great things happening in Hall H with that. Yeah.
And you're going to be scheduled to talk with the Once Upon a Time cast as well, which is kind of a tradition for us as an ABC show and one of our big hit shows. So it'll be fun for you to talk with the cast as well.
Yeah, it has quite a following. I'm not going to own up to watching it, okay? I will admit that I do not watch the show.
We're straight shooters here at 10news.com.
Yeah, I don't watch the show, but I am aware of kind of this cult-like following that it has behind it, dealing with a kind of real-world fairy tale land where you have a person who is Captain Hook, and you have a person who is the Cinderella Queen and stuff like that. Of course, I don't know her name because I don't know the show, but I know of it. So it's just really such a fan-based show that has so much of a following that you can't help but get excited to go cover it and see what they do to amaze their fans.
And as I mentioned, I'm going to be in that big Warner Brothers panel in the morning with Steven Spielberg and Harrison Ford, etc. I don't want to jinx it, so I will say that I do have hopefully a surprise interview which we'll have coming up that we'll be posting tomorrow. So like I said, I don't want to name it because I don't want it to fall through.
Don't jinx it.
But I got a double confirmation today, so I think it'll be good. It'll be one of the biggest ones that we've done so far. But the one that I will say that we've done is Impractical Jokers, who is one of my favorites every single year, who I'm going to be speaking with some of the guys tomorrow. We're going to have that posted for you as well. I know that's a hugely popular show. So we want to thank all the folks at the Chuck Jones Gallery for having us out here for our Comic-Con coverage. Come on down, check it out. You've got a few more days while all the events are going on. They've got artist signings happening here. They've been great hosts to us here, and it's been a lot of fun bringing you this coverage from Comic-Con.
Yeah, and we hope to bring you a lot more, even if it's just one day left. it's going to be the best day. A lot of stuff coming down the pipeline tomorrow, so we're going to get you guys that as quick as we can, and hopefully you won't feel bad if you weren't here and missed it. So,
all right. For Mark Saunders, I'm Jeff Lasky. Thanks for hanging out here at Comic-Con with us on 10 News.